Now I am going to do my post-activity reflection after meeting with Ms. Duhan on the master schedule. So within our meeting, I found out that the criteria used to design our master schedule here in Anahuac was to first take into consideration what teachers that we share with other campuses. We have teachers on our campus that also go to the high school and teach classes there. For example, our band. We have our Spanish teacher teaches in both campuses. So these are what we need to, and coaches take into consideration. Then she takes into consideration the 504 and SPED population to make sure that they are placed into the correct classes, and then automatically fills in and double checks the rest. Okay, so how does this affect instruction? I think it maximizes. Being a teacher, I love how the schedule is working. This year has been great. Science has first period off so that we are able to plan. And again, we learned that math and ELA have the same periods off, so that way then they're usually the ones that need the parent-teacher conferences, so it doesn't have to always be at the end of the day. Okay, class size was really determined just on what fits in whose schedule. As she went over, she does not like more than 25 in a class. Usually it's 24. I honestly can say that I have no more than 21 in a class. But then my smallest class, I have 10. So it just goes into which way. So a lot of it is just what will fit where. The step-by-step process, as we went over, you first need to take into consideration the teachers that you are sharing. Then you need to take in consideration the 504 and SPED, what you have the aides for and to help with. Then you can go ahead and place kids where they need to be. You do have to take into consideration the electives that the kids chose. So with all of that in the computer system, we use Skyward and we let it auto-generate, but then go back and check each student to make sure that they have a first period, second, third, all the class periods, as well as a lunch and anything that they need. So if they need a PE to graduate, if they need to be in something else, to make sure that all the criteria fit for the 8th graders as well. Okay. What factors determine the class size, class times, and facilities? Classrooms, all teachers have their classrooms. Gym comes and plays into effect of where the kids are going to be. But again, that is based on which coaches we have at what time. And our day is set from 7:50 to 3:25. We have 50 to 51 minute class periods, with second period being longer so that announcements do not affect it. Okay, so does this process allow for teacher collaboration? Guaranteed. Last year, we were off by grade level, and as we said, that's very difficult because I was still one of the teachers that had to teach, so I was not off with my eighth grade team. This year I am not off with my 8th grade team, but I am off with the other science teachers, so that allows us to collaborate together to make sure that we are making sure our plans are staggered like they should be. Okay, so how do school policies and practices protect the quality of instruction? Kids are very rarely taken out of our class unless it is something that is needed immediately. And then the kids are coming back unless it is something that is done. We are not pulled out of classes. If they happen to be pulled out of classes, it would be out of their elective classes, not out of their core classes, especially their STAR classes. So instruction time is used completely all the way to the end, as much time as we humanly possibly can get. How is the teacher planning allotted this year? As was stated, science department has first period off. Again, remember, we are only a 6 through 8 campus, so we only have 3 science teachers. Math and ELA are off third period, which allows them to collaborate together, as well as have the parent conferences that are needed. The rest of the teachers are off at various times throughout the day, but it leads to a lot of collaborations. A lot of teachers are off at the same time so that we can talk together and come up with a good plan. So I think it really went well. It didn't go as long as I can hope for. I think that might have been because Ms. Duhan actually has done this before. She is a mentor for another teacher that is on our campus that has started earlier than me. So she really already knew and didn't really have to elaborate and think about the questions. So I am quite concerned about how that's gonna go because I could not get 35 minutes out of her. So that I'm a little bit concerned about. What I would change is, again, maybe ask more questions and more probing questions to get her to talk longer. But I think also because we're a small school, it's very easy. We don't have a lot of teachers that we have to collaborate for. I love how she said that she's going to take some of the information from another school that we visited and use that to allow the STAR teachers more time and maybe an extra conference and everything else. So I think that's going to be awesome if she can get that into that schedule. That was pretty much the surprising things that I knew is being on this campus. I didn't know how she would use that information and if we would be able to have extra off periods like other campuses so we can have a PLC and a conference period. So that's a big surprise. I'm looking forward to that and to see how that may go. This experience, I think, makes me aware of everything that our principal has to go through. I would not have thought that they would be working on a master schedule all the way from spring break until we get back on campus in August. Now, I know there's some break time in there and everything else, but honestly, I did not know that took that long. I know being a teacher, I'd always come in and be like, why isn't the master schedule? What are my classes? Why isn't this going on? And now having this, being a teacher, you're like, wow, okay, well, maybe I need to stop complaining because it really is a long process to take in and to manage and figure it out. So I definitely will not be complaining about that as long as I'm in the classroom. But overall, I think it was a great experience. I love being able to know these things and to help me so that I can be a great administrator and until then, even still be a great teacher and understand what's going on and how things can be done better. All right, thanks.